I honestly didn't think I did anything wrong. I just stayed a little too long at a party and crashed on the couch next to my ex. We shared a blanket. Nothing more. But my husband called it cheating, packed the kids' bags that same night, and left me staring at the doors that closed behind him. Before we dive further into this, one quick favor. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment, and hit that hype button to help more people discover these intense, real-life stories. Nathan always said I needed to grow up. That family life wasn't meant to be fun. But I told myself he was just bitter, weighed down by garage grease and bills piling on the counter. I craved laughter, lightness, a life bigger than bedtime stories, and the same sofa every night. That's why seeing Julian's name on my phone made my chest skip a beat. We hadn't talked in years, but when he messaged through a mutual friends group chat, it felt harmless to reply. Nathan noticed once and asked why I was smiling at my phone. I told him it was just office gossip, a joke. He believed me. He always believed me. I started calling that trust, but really it was just my cover. My mother told me it was natural to want excitement, that men like Nathan sometimes got dull after kids arrived. She said I shouldn't feel guilty for wanting attention. Daniel, Nathan's brother, made a cutting comment once about me looking for trouble. I laughed in his face, telling him he was just jealous no one paid attention to him. When Julian invited me to a friend's party, I pretended to hesitate, but inside, I was already picturing the music, the wine, the way he made me feel young again. Nathan asked if I'd be home for dinner. I smiled sweetly, claiming a work obligation, and said I'd grab something on the way. He nodded, even offered to watch the kids, as he always did. As I left, I felt alive. I told myself it was just one night, just drinks with old friends, nothing Nathan needed to know. I had no idea that small decision would crack open everything I'd built. The party was louder than I expected. Music pounding, bottles everywhere, people sprawled on couches. Julian spotted me immediately and hugged me a little too long, but I didn't pull away. I told myself it was just the wine and nostalgia, nothing more. We laughed about old memories, and each refill of my glass blurred the edges of guilt. By midnight, the house had quieted, half the guests gone. I curled up on the couch, laughing at one of Julian's stories. Someone tossed a blanket over us, warning we'd freeze near the open window. I pulled it over my legs and let it cover us too. Nothing happened. Just warmth, I told myself. I even snapped a selfie, cropped carefully to show only the blanket and my flushed cheeks. Caption about wild nights. Clever, right? My phone buzzed. Nathan, asking if I was coming home. I typed back that I'd had too much to drink and was staying over at a friend's to be safe. He replied with one word, fine. I convinced myself his tone was proof he overreacted, not that I'd crossed a line. Morning light hit, and I woke under the blanket with Julian snoring beside me. I slipped out quietly, head pounding, heart racing. I thought it would remain a secret, but one friend smirked, commenting on how cozy we looked. By the time I got home, a photo was already circulating the group chat. Me asleep, sharing a blanket with Julian. I told myself it was harmless, but deep down I knew Nathan would never see it that way. When I walked through the front door, Nathan sat at the table with Ella and James. He looked up once, then returned to their cereal. I kissed the kids' heads, explaining I stayed over because it wasn't safe to drive. Nathan didn't respond. His silence weighed heavier than any shouting ever could. Later that week, he asked me directly if Julian had been at the party. I laughed. Of course, it was a group of old friends. He pressed, asking if I'd shared a blanket. My chest tightened, but I forced a smile, telling him he was acting like a jealous teenager. I assured him nothing happened. He just nodded, lips tight, and left. That calm, hearing nothing but that quiet disapproval, was unbearable. At a dinner with friends, I tried to make light of it. I raised my glass, joked that Nathan thought a blanket was cheating. Laughter erupted, though some smiles were forced. I said he was so uptight he'd probably accuse me of betrayal if I hugged someone too long. My mother laughed. Men always overreact. Nathan stayed silent, methodically cutting his food. Robert slammed his fork down, accusing me of humiliating my husband in public. I snapped back. Stay out of our marriage. The table fell silent. Nathan asked for the check, and that was it. At home, I tried to reconcile, wrapping my arms around him. He gently pulled away, saying he'd sleep in the spare room. That night, I heard drawers opening. By morning, the kids' bags and shoes were gone. A note on the counter explained he had taken them overnight. My hand shook reading it, realizing my joke had cost me more than I ever imagined. At his parents' house the next Sunday, I tried to twist the story. I said Nathan overreacted, that I'd only share a blanket while drunk and tired, and he made it betrayal. My mother nodded, saying men always exaggerate. I let her words comfort me, framing Nathan as abandoning me and the kids over a misunderstanding. But Daniel cut me off sharply. Nathan had done the right thing. Respect mattered more than excuses. He said the party had been enough for anyone to see it wasn't innocent. My cheeks burned, but I shot back that he was just defending his brother. Nathan stayed calm, letting the room argue around him. Ella clung to him, refusing to meet my eyes, while James held tight to his uncle. I tried to smile, but their silence cut deeper than any accusation. When Nathan left early, I noticed a legal envelope in his jacket pocket. That night, he called me to the kitchen. The folder sat neatly on the table. He didn't shout. He didn't accuse. He slid a photo across, the one from the group chat. There I was, asleep, blanket covering me, Julian's arm too close. My stomach dropped. I rushed into excuses, cried, begged him to see it was innocent. He listened calmly, then showed phone records, late-night messages, the time I claimed I'd stay safe. My hands shook. My mother called him cruel, saying he was building a case instead of forgiving. Daniel said he was wise, protecting himself. Nathan said it wasn't revenge. It was about stability for Ella and James. Finally, he placed a set of documents in front of me, divorce and custody filings, all sealed by the court. I had no words left. 2 days later, we met at a cafe. I came early, rehearsing lines about forgiveness, thinking if I smiled enough he'd soften. Nathan arrived on time, carrying only an envelope. He didn't order coffee. He didn't linger. He slid the envelope across the table. Inside were finalized papers, divorce terms, custody schedule, financial agreements, all signed.